When does it end? Content, information, propaganda, proselytizing, inculcation, media, information, just spammed into you 24/7. When does it end? When do I stop making videos? When does everyone else stop making content for everyone else to consume over time? Never. And this is the unfortunate reality of the world around us. The uniqueness of a original painting or architecture or creation in any shape and form is exhausted. And so you wake up and it's the same thing. Re-implemented, regurgitated, transmuted. Never is it something new. Never is it something that hasn't been foreseen in this planet, in this realm, in this reality. So what does that teach us? That teaches us that we have to adapt to what we have. This is that amor fati. And taken to the extreme, you do with what you have to get the outcomes that you want. This is why I make content. This is why you consume content. We all are trying to get through life to engineer the outcomes in which our will tells us it is necessary for it to manifest. In this corporeal form you find yourself, you will go through ups and downs, and there will be content, infinite amounts of content for you to consume along this journey, along this roller coaster. Now, what I am not imploring you to do is shut out, hermitage, ascetic. But what I would say is that now your veil has been lifted. You're in 2025, you're in 2026, you're in 2027, you're in 2040, 2050. This video may still be uploaded. This video may still have people viewing it, very rarely, seldom probably. But the idea is that infinite creations across time are forever. And what we can learn from them is the ability to transplant our own point of view, our own parallax, onto the historical sense of what were they thinking in that time, such that I can trace that skein to where I am now, such that I know and I can predict where I'm going in the future. This is the idea, and this is why when we think about content, we have to actually think in political terms, almost exclusively. So when we think, why am I viewing this? Why am I enjoying this? What am I watching now? You no longer have the ability to just passively enjoy things. I'm sorry to say this. You're not a child. A child is encountering everything new the first time, good or bad. They rank them much more leniently in this nebulous criteria of what they enjoy, what is fun. You are an adult, and an adult now needs to be able to reckon with reality. You need to ascertain what it is that gives you push, momentum, and understanding, how you fathom the reality that you find yourself in. And from that, we then understand that everyone is trying to message to us consistently, perpetually. And this information motion machine cranking out endless amounts of content is aimed at you, and whether or not you are receptive to it is secondary to the fact that it'll get created no matter what. I'm here making this video for you specifically, and also anyone else who specifically needs to see this, to tell you that we are in now this perpetual cycle of, and we call it postmodernity here, but something that we would like to call the decline. This is the end of the West's creative force. It is spent. So we look at the things that we have and say, I hate this. I hate that there's nothing new. I hate that the creative energies, the vitality, the vim, the vigor, it's all spent. It's all gone. They're rehashing all of the things that I've already seen in different packages, but they are seemingly and in reality, virtually, the exact same. So what do you do? Well, for the weak leftist types, you try to subvert, you degenerate, you take an abstract, a reductive position and say, no, look, I'm going to transform these elements into something niche, into something avant-garde. And what you're really saying is you're degenerating a concept, you're degenerating an idea from its purity and where it's held highest in its artistic merits and its creative forces into something despoiled and polluting. And on the right, we cherish those things that have already been created, but we have a malice, we have a detestation. There's a sense, a sardonic, unsatisfying urge to throw it all back into the broil and go again, because what we're facing is this frustration of nothing new is there and happening, so something must create and something must go. Now, this is not to be a doomer, this is not to have a pessimistic outlook, this is just the reality of the life that you're now living and you're facing. You will watch and consume thousands of hours of videos, of music, of audiobooks, of podcasts, of whatever new form of media is able to be manifested out of our infinite drive to technology, what we can advance in terms of how fast and interspersed information can be beamed into your skull, into your cognate, and then how you are now able to represent yourself, your soul, your being as something that I wanted you trained into. Many people will say that, yeah, you've been lied to, or you've been inculcated, you've been indoctrinated. And that's true, but that's true for everyone and everything in some way, shape or form. So it's not a unique observation. It's not something that's necessarily the most scathing and biting observation. What they're really saying is that we would prefer you to be in line with what we believe. Thus, I have more allies than I have enemies, and everyone I have on my team is one fewer on the opposite team, which is fine. But one side needs to represent what it means to be the Faustian Gothic soul, the man of power, and the content needs to be continually represented in modern means, in modern modes, to transform the newer generations into what are the future fighters for that cause. If you do not hold these aspirational ideals, if you do not hold these remnants of your social creation, if you don't say that Bach and Beethoven and Mozart produced the finest works of art you'll ever see, they get lost to time, and you no longer hold those cultural artifacts to inspire new generations of the possible, of the what grandiose and amazing, mind-blowing, awe-inspiring things can be created by one human man. What is possible allows us to then transform our own lives, dedicate them towards something maybe greater than us. And this is what many men understood from that right side of the spectrum. It's that the power of one man can overcome the plebeian masses. And Nietzsche obviously is one of the main proponents for this exact same message. But here's my maybe annual reminder now to say that the content is always going to be there. You will have to continually subject yourself to just nonsense and trash, and also some educational and informative and entertaining things. But what is important for me to implore you is to have that ambit, the cynosure around your own consumption, to guide it as a principle. And if you are a creator, you create things yourself, then make sure that the guidance is there in principle based along the lines of that you need to make sure that our side wins. And what is the most effective way of doing that is having the best technology, the most sophisticated minds, and having the mass appeal toward the plebs.